In this video, I'm going to walk you through how I closed $130,000 this month on LinkedIn, specifically with only organic content and DMs, so I don't run any paid ads whatsoever, using our 6-step sales process that I'm going to walk you through exactly today and give away absolutely everything for free. I've spent about 5 hours this morning already walking through and helping refine our sales process for the sales team. And while it was fresh in my mind, I was like, screw it, I'm just going to record a video that I can give to our sales team and also just give you for free as well. And so honestly, so you can just take this and steal it absolutely for free. And that's all I've got on the little slide deck. Before we get into it, just because you might be like, hey, who's this guy? I don't know who I am. If you don't know who I am, my name is Matthew Lakajev. I run a program called 7-Figure Creators. We're helping nearly 500 LinkedIn creators make their first 6 then 7 figures. That's a new creator with a new offer or an existing business owner. Anyone that wants to drive 6 then 7 figures to their business from LinkedIn as well. A lot of people make a lot of claims online about money, so I'll just show you my Stripe account. So that was the past 4 weeks. It was $130,000 last month. They just don't have the little option on Stripe to actually adjust it as well, which was pretty good. And also over here as well, more proof. We booked 179 meetings in the past 30 days. We had a few cancelled meetings as well, which I got to address that problem later on. But that's not the purpose of today's presentation. Today's presentation, or whatever, video is I'm just going to walk you through, first up, how I generate leads on LinkedIn and how I generate so many in the system and the process. But then I really want to dig into the sales process that I use, because in all of our coaching calls every single week, sales process and deep diving into the psychology of sales, because I think a lot of people underestimate how hard sales actually is and the amount of things you actually need to put into it. So I'm just going to walk you through our sales process and then exactly what we do at each point to get around about a 50% close rate, which is like, okay, we can actually increase it from there. And that way you can steal it and apply it in your business as well. And if you feel like, hey, this dude looks like someone I might want to work with, you can apply to work with me in our program. There'll be links below as well at the same time. So let's get into it. First thing I want to run through is how I generate leads, and I'm not going to do a massively detailed video. I'm just going to show you a roundabouts how it actually happens, and then I'll create other videos which go into details here, because this purpose of this one is the sales process. So I generate leads in 2 ways. Actually, let me whiteboard this out for you. So I generate leads in 2 ways. Way 1, so leads. Way 1 is inbound. Inbound through my LinkedIn, and I'm going to show you what it looks like there. Way 2 is what I call sell by chat. And I didn't coin this term at all. It's just called sell by chat. So actually chatting people or DMing them back and forth. So there's 2 ways that I get leads, and I'll show you in my LinkedIn profile now. Again, I won't go into too much detail because I want to get into the juicy sales stuff as well, because I just spent 5 hours going through it, so it's fresh in my head, which is really cool. So one way is how I generate leads is people come to my LinkedIn profile because I create content that drives awareness. And again, guys, I teach this inside our program is what I do full time. It's our thing. So I drive people to our profile. They either click this visit my website button, or they click this button here. And then I have a landing page. This is the only website that we've got right now until we've got the new website coming out as well, which is pretty cool. And so all that happens here is there's a headline, a sub-headline, a video sales letter down here as well. If someone's interested, they click interested, book a chat. They fill out this form here. It also partially captures the form, because a little sneaky hack, if you just put your calendar link in there only, then people go to the calendar link and they don't find a time, you don't know if they went there. But if I go in here, right, and I go like this and I put in my deets, this is my old email, because I don't want to show the new one, and I just say, yep. What actually happens is it then registers the person as a lead inside our forms over here. So this is something that a lot of people don't do. Where is the forms? Here they are. Down here, latest message. Boom. Here we are. So here's the forms. So you can see down here, you can't really see because my fat head's in the way. But down here you can see Matt booked in a chat. It registers as a form. Because a lot of people, what they do is they just put a calendar link. They don't capture the information. And then someone comes in, they grab a time. We have tons of times available because scarcity on calendars is a made up thing and no one cares about it. They just want to book at a convenient time. And then we only allow people to book 3 days in advance because it decreases the likelihood of no-shows at the same time as well. So that's way 1 that I get leads. Way 2 is I post content. So for example, 4 weeks ago, I spent it getting coached by a guy who advises Alex Hormozy. He's my coach who I pay $54,000 a year for. I just said to people, hey, I created this amazing free training. If you want it, comment coach. people comment coach, and then I sell by chat and I talk to them and I say, hey, here's all the stuff. And if they're an ideal client, we'll start a conversation with them and be like, hey, you want to meet up to brainstorm how we can help you generate leads on LinkedIn. So those are the 2 ways that I generate leads on LinkedIn. I'm not going to go into detail, super sophisticated, but as you can see, I booked, it was 179 meetings in the past 30 days. So we're doing pretty good. Only organic content, no ads. I'm not saying ads are bad. It's just we don't have the infrastructure to support ads at the moment because we've got too many leads, which is a good thing. So now let's run through the sales process, because that's why we're here today, because I've deep dived into it for 5 hours. So it's really fresh in my head. So I'm going to do a really good job at explaining it, hence why. So our sales process is split up into 6 parts. So we'll go sales process here. I have a sales team as well. So I don't take the sales calls. I don't take some of the sales calls. I take some WhatsApp calls or whatever, but I try not to take any sales calls anymore as well, just because they're really draining and it's very hard to scale your business. Most people should take tons and tons of sales calls before. I've taken thousands over my years. I was previously a sales rep at Zoom and I worked through that at another company past that. Won't get into too many details, but when you very, very first start out, you should take all the sales meetings. Just trust me on this. So the sales process that we have, it's split up into 6 parts. Now, what this line is, or why I'm putting this line here, by the way, is the whole goal of your sales process, in my opinion, is to give your buyer, or give the person coming through the sales process, give them enough trust in you and your product so that they're confident that when they do purchase and they do work with you, they believe that there's a high likelihood of it happening. And the outcome they're going to get. So you think about someone who has like amazing trust in the marketplace, might be like Apple. They don't need a sales process because they've got a limited trust, and I bought 5 iPhones before, so I'm going to buy the iPhone again. And because they have so much trust over here on the right, the more trust somebody has, the higher percentage chance that the deal is going to close. So that's why I like to put it on this spectrum or this line. I show it to clients all the time. Your goal in the sales process is to build enough trust so that they're confident in purchasing with you, and I'll explain different elements throughout at the same time. So in our sales process, it's split up into a couple of parts. So we've got meeting 1, which is here. We've got meeting 2, right? These are the parts in the sales process. Now, the different stages, and I'm going to break them down one by one and what we do at each point. And if you want to know what we do and what we sell a program on school.com, which shows working with about 500 different business owners and creators, showing them how to generate leads on LinkedIn. So I literally show and teach people this. It's like exactly the same thing as well. But in the sales process that I run, and the reason why I want to go into detail with this is because so many people completely underestimate the amount of detail and little things that go into the sales process that to get people to essentially buy or want to work with you. A lot of people do things like try to convince people on the sales call. They don't have enough steps. They only try to close on one deal on one call. All these little mistakes, and they're all little 1%ers. Like there's no silver bullet. There's only a thousand golden BBs. I didn't make that up as well. And that's kind of this sales process here that I'm going to walk through. And then you'll see each little minute detail and point. And all these little things change over time, and we actually increase and get better at the sales process. So this has been a work in progress over a few months at the same time. So the first stage in the sales process is, stage 1, which is immediately after the booking happens. So when someone books a meeting, I'm going to walk you through the process that Nate from my team, we'll just call Nate down here. Nate's the guy that closes on our team, and what actually happens. Now, and Nate's a closer. We also have setters as well who set meetings. And so the closer takes over when the setter books a meeting. That's when the closer jumps in, and it's their job to actually take over at the same time. If you're in a small business or whatever, you might be the setter and the closer. Whatever, you just take both roles. We just separate them both for efficiency. So we've got stage 1, which is immediately after someone books a meeting and what happens. And I'll run you through those steps and break it down. Then we've got stage 2, which is the pre-meeting research, which I'll note it down later on. So what does the sales rep do before they get in the meeting, and why? Why do they do it? Then we've got the scripts in the meeting, which is stage 3. So during the actual meeting itself, which is the first meeting, we call it a diagnostic. You could call it a discovery or a triage. That's the first meeting. The purpose of the first meeting is just to work out even if we're a good fit. hack for you, if you're only doing 1 call closes, if you just split it into 2 meetings, you're probably going to increase your close rate by 15 to 20%. It's really, really easy. But we have stage 3. Then we have stage 4, which is between meeting 1 and meeting 2 and what we do at each point. Then we've got meeting 2, what happens during meeting 2. And then we have post meeting 2, what happens here in stage 6. And I'll break down each stage now below. But as you can see from the spectrum, right, what we want to do is when someone initially books the first meeting here, we've usually chatted to them or they've consumed some content to get to that point. So, and I'll talk about the term that I like to call time on content throughout this, which is a very important. It's a really important thing to track when you're going through your sales process, because the more content someone consumes of your stuff before you have a conversation with them and ask them if they want to work with you, the high likelihood they're going to buy because they trust you more, because they consume more content. So I'm going to be talking a lot about time on content here throughout the same time. And feel free to pause, go back, because I'm going to kind of just whip through this. It's fresh in my mind, probably won't be fresh in yours at the same time. But with this time on content, let's actually change it to orange to make it cool. What the sales process of what usually happens for us is that someone like over here, so they're a complete stranger at this point. I'll do like a lead magnet post on LinkedIn, and I'll show you like an example of a lead magnet post over here. Let me go over here. All right, so I'll do a lead magnet post or a post that gets a lot of traction on LinkedIn. For example, 4 weeks ago, Alex Hormozi's advisor spent 90 minutes coaching me. I'm giving away the notes and worksheets for free. So that's something that I give away for free. I tell people to say, hey, usually I say comment coach to get access, right? And they get access. A little hack here though is that after 48 hours, what I do is I put the link in directly so someone can get access, just so we don't have to keep going back and giving lead magnets to people and they can get immediate access. It also allows people to binge your content really well. So I give away free stuff like this one here. Yesterday I hit 45,000 followers, and to celebrate, I recorded a 129-minute free training. This was get this one. I give away a lot of stuff in here. Click for instant access. Let's fucking go. And it includes it. So I give away all this free stuff that people then click a link, which then brings them into my world. They consume the content. And then what happens is they spend time on the content. And what time on content does, before we actually have a conversation or they have a conversation with Nate, is it moves them from a stranger to a trusted advisor. So it moves them along the spectrum. That's why building a personal brand and all that kind of stuff is so powerful, because people actually trust you just because it's built in. It's why, when you get a referral from someone, or they say, go to this restaurant, and then your friend, you just go because you trust them, right? And it just, trust lubricates the sales process. And so let's say they go, usually what happens in our process is like we've got lead magnet, we'll give them one lead magnet, we'll give them another lead magnet, you know what I mean? We'll give them another lead magnet, and then have a conversation about, hey, do you want to jump on a 20-minute brainstorming chat to see if we might be able to help you? I know I've put S1 back over here. Technically, S1 should be like here, but I just didn't want to scrunch it all up into the same spot. So that's like time on content beforehand. So, and I just wanted to illustrate that point because I'm going to talk about it a lot throughout here, because in the sales process, a really key thing to note is that you never want to try and convince someone to buy. You want them to convince themselves, and then you facilitate the purchase. And you do that through different things like pre-framing or persuasion, time on content, a lot of other things which a lot of people in sales don't talk about as well, which I just really enjoy talking about because I've just found a lot of success through these. And whenever I review all of our sales meetings and stuff like that, I can see when things have gone really well, and there's common characteristics, and so we just try to recreate them. That's how you kind of refine and build your sales process as you go through. And so in this sales process, I'll break down the 6 stages now, and then I'll walk you through each stage one by one at the same time. And also, guys, like this post here, so this video that I put up, this is also a lead magnet, because I'm like showing you what I do. And in the process of me literally just explaining to what I do, you might consider me an expert at what I do. And then you might be like, actually, he might be able to help me with his stuff. So a really good way to create lead magnets is literally just showing people, this is my process of what I do. And then you just do it. And it's like a really great way to create lead magnets. And because you don't have to recreate or rethink of new content. Like today, I just spent 5 hours in the sales process this morning and with the sales team, sent them a Loom video with training. And I was like, I'm feeling good. I'm just going to make a YouTube video on this. And I just do it. literally the same thing. So really easy way to make a lead magnet. So that we go through the sales process. So let's go through the stages. So stage 1 is immediate after booking. So we'll just call it immediate AB, right? Immediately after booking, and I'll walk you through what happens at this point. Stage 2 is pre-meeting checklist, right? And then stage 3 is meeting 1, or conducting the meeting with the script. Stage 4 is post meeting 1 follow-up of how we actually do it. Stage 5 is meeting 2 and the script, and then how we conduct it. And then stage 6 is post meeting 2, right? Post meeting 2. We usually try to get the person to jump in the program after meeting 2 if they're a good fit, but sometimes they don't for certain circumstances, so you need a post meeting 2 follow-up system that you go through. And so what I'll do is I'll work through each of these one by one, starting at stage 1. So immediately after the leaders come, say inbound, and they've booked a meeting, or our setting team, say Ewan from our setting team has actually booked a meeting itself, and I'll just tell you what happens straight away. And with the meetings, how we know what's going on with the meetings is the way we track it is we just had this, we have Calendly linked through a Zapier to Slack, so I can just see when all the meetings come in at the same time and who's commenting and engaging, right? And then they just pop straight on the calendar as well. So sales team can see when a meeting comes in, bing, they get a notification, so they know exactly what to do. So when it comes to meetings coming in, like somebody booking a meeting, stage 1, there's a few things that we do at this stage and the reasons why. So let's go stage 1. So immediately upon booking a meeting, there's a few things that we do. One is, let's talk from Nate's perspective here, right? So first things first, I want Nate to add them on LinkedIn, add on LinkedIn, plus WhatsApp. So we ask for people's phone numbers on the way through to get them on WhatsApp, because we like to personalize the invitation, especially when they feel like a connection. Personalization and relevance throughout the sales process is really great. Less automation, the better, because the world's full of automation. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying that if you do other things other than automation, people will favor you and they'll really like it. They'll like that you take the time to do it. Too many lead gen people try to just automate the fuck out of everything, and then they just end up burning all the leads, which is a terrible way to do it. So stage 1, what happens? Inbound meeting comes in. Nate will go through and add them on LinkedIn. He'll also shoot them a WhatsApp as well at the same time. What he'll do immediately is he'll send them. We have a tally form, and I'll show you the form as well. What's on the form, plus VSL. He will send them the tally form and VSL, and then he'll also send them a case study. And I'll walk you through each of these steps and why they matter. We'll call it step 1, 2, 3, right? So when he adds them on LinkedIn, and he adds them on WhatsApp, when he adds them on LinkedIn, he'll just say, hey, I just shot you a connection request message. I just shot you a WhatsApp message with all the details of catching up. Can you just check that there? It's a really good thing to hit them on multiple channels, because sometimes they might miss one, so you can go back to it. So it creates more and more personalization. When he's in the actual conversation, also when he shoots them the WhatsApp, let me just log into this here. Give me one sec. Cool. So what Nate will do is he'll add them on WhatsApp, send them like an audio note to personalize it to show he's like a human. Next stage of what he'll do is he sends through our diagnostic form. Now, when they book on Calendly, it does send them through this diagnostic form as an automated thing. A lot of people just don't respond to automated stuff. Like if you get an email and it says from Calendly, like I do, I just delete. I don't look inside it. So what Nate will do is he'll say, this is our diagnostic form. He will then he'll shoot them this tally form, and it's not even that fancy. It's pretty crude, right? And there's a few things inside it that we want people to actually go through. I had this little video that just explains, the reason why you want to fill out this form and the purpose behind it. There's then 2 steps for them to do. The first step is for them to watch our video sales letter and read the information about our program. By the time you watch this might have changed as well at the same time. So in the purpose of this as well as we go through, so adding the LinkedIn tally form and the case study, the purpose of all of this is to prime the person for the conversation or pre-swayed. You want the person to be convincing themselves through consuming the content before you actually meet with them. So when you do meet with them, they're half convinced already, which is the best way to do it. So we send them through this form and say, hey, can you watch this video and read this document, which is everything about our program, including the FAQs. And then can you fill out this form, which tells us information about the person and their business. There's a few reasons for this. The filling out of the watching of the video sales letter is all priming and persuading, so the person knows what our program's about. So when they're having the discussion with Nate, he knows how to direct the conversation as well. And then so they don't go in thinking it's something that it's not. Like a lot of people might come into a meeting with us and be like, they think it's a done for you LinkedIn service. We don't do that. It's like a done with you and DIY one that we show you how to implement the whole process yourself so you get the skills within your business. So we want to make sure that they're primed so they know what the conversation is about, so they don't have any admin things in their head. The second thing we do is we get them to fill out a form. And the reason we get them to do a form is because then that allows us in the first meeting to dive deeper into the questions around their problems. Because the deeper you dive and the more you peel back the onion with people around the questions that they actually have, the higher percentage chance you're going to have of understanding them, building trust and rapport, and then closing the deal. So it all comes around that building that trust piece as well, and feeling people want to make, if people feel like you understand them, or they feel understood, it creates a lot of trust with people. And you do that through asking these kind of hardish questions, but it's easy to get there through a form. So the form that we've got here is it just asks them their name, their LinkedIn, describe their services, their goals, all that kind of stuff, right? So 8 different questions here. I based it off Jeremy Miner's, whatever framework he's got, whatever it's called as well. I can't remember any PQ framework or whatever it is, some of the questions based off that, but you can test them. And guys, if you're just starting out in sales, right, this is another tip. If you're just starting out and you don't have a strong personal brand and you're really struggling at meetings, the less friction you apply to people, so the less stuff you get them to do before the meeting, and the easier that you make it for people, the higher likelihood they're going to have turning up to the meeting. So if you're brand new, you never booked any meetings, maybe not a good idea to ask people to watch a 10-minute video and fill out this sophisticated form before they actually meet, because they might be like, who are you, kind of thing. So what it does is if you do have a brand, it creates that bit of that barrier for the people that aren't serious. But if you don't, you want to make the flow a lot easier for people to be able to talk to you at the same time. And I can get into the psychology of that a little bit later. And so in stage 1, so we've gone through, Nate's added them on LinkedIn and sent them a WhatsApp audio note. He sent them the form saying, and the way that you communicate and get them to the form is you just say, hey, here's this form. Can you ever watch the video or whatever beforehand? That way we can spend the whole time on you and we don't have to waste any time on admin, so I can get a good understanding of your business situation. Just put it on them and just say it's for their benefit. And it is for their benefit to work it out if they're a good fit. And the third thing that Nate will send is a case study. And there's a right and wrong way to send case studies. The wrong way to send a case study is just send a case study with no context. Stupid! Don't do that, because no one will read a 20-minute thing. What you want to do is you want to say, I can't remember the framework that I did, but when you're sending the case study, the way you want to write it is in 4 parts. And I'm just going to read what I wrote, sent to Nate before as well. It needs to be, okay, so there's what is it? It's the reason. It starts with the reason why you're sending a case study, and I'll give you an example. The reason, there's the before, and there's the after, and then there's the why. So when you send a case study to someone, you kind of want to break up how you send it to them in a few steps. You want to say, the one that I just wrote to Nate, so I'll read off this as well, because I just wrote that. So he sent a follow-up email, and I showed him another way to write it to send a case study to make it more personalized so someone feels special. So he just had a meeting with someone called Stacy, and he wanted to send through a case study to her to get, or even before the chat, so that Stacy feels confident, because he wants her to essentially look at the case study. I'll just read it first. I'm getting confused. You also mentioned on the chat, Stacy, how generating leads has been difficult and that you want to hit $10,000, $8,000 a month. It reminded me of Beon when we first started working together. He was only generating 2 leads a month, even though he was posting for 6 months and had 8,500 followers. Now he's booking 100 meetings per, 10 meetings per week, not 100, 10 meetings per week, and creates content that he knows will generate him leads. If you have time, it'll probably be worth taking a look at this case study here, as it will have a few tips on it, especially around the 10-minute mark when he goes through his selling in the DMs process. So when you're sending case study, really critical to give the reason why you're sending it through, what happened to the person before, where was their state before, what happened after, and then why. Because the reason you want to give this is because you want to persuade the person to actually watch or read the case study. And you do that by saying this person was like you, but they're like where now you want to be, and you should watch at this minute and this point because it's very specific. It all goes back down to the thing that I talked about before, which was time on content. The more time they spend on your content before, the higher likelihood they're going to have of buying because they're going to trust you more at the same time. So before Nate even gets on a meeting, they've watched a 10-minute video, they've filled out a form, they've written and vented their feelings. They've actually gone through a 20-minute case study. So they've spent like half an hour to 40 minutes. This is not including the lead magnets that I've given away on LinkedIn before we actually meet with them. So they're persuaded themselves and they're primed for the conversation because we've done what's called time on content. Because remember, the goal is not to convince them on the sales call, it's to let them convince themselves, and the sales call is to facilitate the purchase. That's it. It's just like a slippery slide. You want them to go straight down. You don't want any friction on it as well. And friction is created through lack of trust, and like too much ambiguity, they're not clear, they've got some objections. You want to remove everything, so it's like a really nice slippery slide to them to fall straight into your Stripe bank account. That's all it is. And so that's number one, what actually happens immediately when someone books a meeting. And the faster you can do this, the better, because it shows it shows you as a business that you're actually really good at what you do. Because I'll give you a story behind this. The way your sales process and the lead gen process is the first step of someone actually working with you. And it's so crucial because what people do is they just judge the business based off the sales process, usually. And they just assume that if the sales process was good, the delivery must be good. May not be true or not, doesn't really matter. An example of this is like, I went with my partner, she got her nails done yesterday when she just got back from Europe. And when I was down there, this was after we had to go to the airport to go pick up a bag that she left there on her backpack. So that was annoying the day after I picked her up. So we went to the airport, we drove back, she got her nails done, and I was waiting there and I was like, I needed a haircut. And then there was this haircut place there and I was like, sweet, I'll go get a haircut. Went in, sat down with the guy and I was like, this is convenient because if she gets her nails done, I can get my haircut here. It works out every couple of weeks or whatever, or every 4 weeks when I get my haircut. And then I sat down and I spoke to the guy. I'm like, hey dude, can you just cut around my ears? Like, I don't want the shaver thing like at all, literally just cut and just a tiny bit off the top. And I get out my phone, start doing some emails. Fucking 20 seconds later, the dude's literally shaving the sides of my head. And I'm like, now this hair's way shorter than what I want. And you probably don't notice, but I'm self-conscious about it. But yeah, he's shaving around my thing. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, I literally told you to cut. Like, and after that point, I didn't say anything like during the haircut because the dude's fucking cutting my hair. But I was like pissed off. And then at the end, like, I was like, the guy was like, how was it? I'm like, man, I told you to cut. I literally told you to cut. Why did you shave? And he's like, oh, I didn't ask. Oh, I don't. And then the owner was like, oh, I would give it to you free. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I don't want to take it for free. I'm always going to pay you. Like, I'm never going to do that. But like, I'm just never coming back here. And I just want to let you know as well that my partner gets the nails done here. And I was going to come back here all the time. You could have had a customer for ages because my other place is more inconvenient down the road. But the experience that you gave me now, I'm literally never come back. I don't give it to me for free. I don't give a fuck what actually happens. And that's the same as like somebody's like sales process they have. Like this hairdresser was like empty. Like, there was no one in there. So your sole goal should make the experience as good as possible and facilitate it for the person as much as you can. And they didn't do that. And then they just burned it. And I could have been someone who silently quit and just never came back. But I just wanted to verbalize it because I feel like people deserve the right to know so they can make a change. Because the employee was a dumbass who just didn't even listen. I was like, what the hell? Like, you've got no one in the shop. Come on, guys. But this is the same with your sales process and like why it matters so much. And especially, with the lead gen process, is like these first interactions that somebody has with your company and your brand usually dictates the perception that they have throughout the journey as well. That's why I really don't like when people just grab some lead gen agency and they're like, contact the 5,000 ideal clients I know. And people don't even understand copywriting, so they just burn all 5,000. That's why I'm very into you learning copywriting, sales, and persuasion yourself as a business owner or creator, so that then if you want to get an agency later, or you want to get a sales team like I do, and then I can review the calls, I know what the fuck's going wrong. You don't know what's going wrong, which is a massive problem in small business. Anyways, I diverge. Diverge, if that's even a word. So yeah, that's stage one. And wow, we're quite a few minutes in. And we're already only on stage one. Who cares? I love these long videos. So that's stage one. So we send, add them on LinkedIn or WhatsApp, tally form, case study. Now I got stage two. And now we've got stage two. Now what this is the pre-meeting checklist. Pre-meeting checklist. I'm not going to go through like the full checklist of what actually happens, but there's a few things that we want to double check throughout before Nate will actually meet with the person. So he wants to check that they're ICP plus deets, right? I want Nate to go through and I want him to check their company, their employee count. Have they posted on LinkedIn? Like, what do they do? Like, what's the pre-chat been like till then? All the engagements beforehand. I want to know everything. I want him to then read the tally form of the actual meeting before they actually meet. Because as he reads through the tally form itself, he gets to deep dive into the person to understand their problems. So as he goes through and he creates the questions, and the questions that we have are already pre-scripted out as well. It's just that he can add more personalization to the questions. So a really good way is use a sales script, but say things like in your script, oh, and by the way, you mentioned in the form that you've been producing content for 4 months and you've actually only been attracting 2 leads per week. How many leads do you actually want to attract per week? Because usually we'd ask a question like, hey, where are you at now with leads and where do you want to be? But the more you personalize it, make it relevant to them, the more special they feel throughout the thing, and then the more trust that actually gets built. Beforehand as well, I want Nate to bring up some case studies plus screenshots. And so with these case studies and screenshots, I want him to pull up relevant case studies and things that he can talk about during the actual call itself and how to actually structure it. Also for the actual post-call follow-up. I want to show you what we keep as well, which is another hack, is that for the case study screenshots, anytime there's a win in our program or someone does something, we just have a channel called testimonials inside here as well. This is really cool. This guy closed 2 clients from my LinkedIn sales funnel. He's not even in our program. Cool. Which I was happy about that. It was really, really cool. I'm going to share that today at the same time. But yeah, so going through the case study and preparing some screenshots of people that are relevant to the people, because the best way is just to show proof. If someone comes in and they're like, for example, I'll use a guy. We've got a financial advisor in the US. If someone else is a financial advisor in the US, we can be like, hey, this guy was just like you, only getting 1 to 2 leads a week. Now he booked 20 calls in a whole month. See this message he sent me, how he's actually all full up. He can't even do the program. It's like, this person's like you, but the more you can actually pull that in, but he's got to go through all the case studies and all that kind of stuff just to pick out which ones are like most relevant to the actual person. It doesn't have to be a full case study, just a screenshot, just extra little bits of proof. And what this proof does is it just pushes people further up the trust building and builds more and more trust with them at the same time as well. So he goes through pre-meeting checklist. I'm not going to go through the whole checklist, but he's got, are they our ideal clients? Because if they're not our ideal clients, so if they're like an employee in a company and our setter, you and accidentally booked a wrong meeting, we don't take meetings with people who are employees of companies, period, or anyone above, say 10, 20 employees. Things like that, because there's a few reasons, but last month we had 45 meetings with people inside companies, more than 10 employees that weren't the owner, and none of the deals closed. So I just say we're not allowed. We're not taking meetings for any of those people. The reason why they don't buy is because they've got a different sales process and they're not decision maker, and we just not geared up and just don't want to fucking deal with that as well. So we just only work with the people we want to work with. That's another tip on how to like close more deals. Only work with the people you want to work with and that you can help. Don't accept anyone at the same time, which helps at the same time. So we've got this pre-meeting checklist that Nate's going to go through to get prepped for the call. Usually I get him to do his prep at the start of the day, so he's prepped all throughout the meetings, because between the prep of the calls and then having the calls, he does follow-ups as well, and then he also goes back to all the old leads that either ghosted and that kind of stuff to get them back on the calendar as well at the same time. So that's stage 2 in the pre-meeting checklist. And then stage 3 here is meeting 1. So we call it a diagnostic meeting. You can call it a triage meeting. You can call it a discovery meeting. We run a 2-call sales process. Now, if you're selling something between, say, like $2,000, $10,000, up to that, right? Or even something that's like $30,000. Some people make this mistake, is that a lot of people, what they do is they just pitch on the first call. It's like just a massive rookie error. Like, it's just, if you're going to take anything away from this video, just have 2 sales calls now instead of 1. Just do that. The first call, all you do at the start, and I'll run you through how I structure the sales calls and how they're scripted. But you have the first call, you say, hey, I can say, hey, Stacy, thanks so much for jumping on. You're from Sydney, I'm from Sydney. Oh my God, you went to this cafe, I went to this cafe. Cool, well, thanks for jumping on to the call today. Look, the purpose of this call is, if it's okay with you, I just want to ask a few questions just to determine if you actually might even be the right fit for our program, because I still don't know it yet. And I'd rather ask these questions to get a good understanding, about your business, so we can spend all the time on you as well. And if we do think you're a good fit, at the end of the call, we can schedule another meeting to talk about how, and then I'll send you the program details as well. Also, all throughout this call, just let me know if you want to stop at any point during the call to ask any other questions. Totally okay. Is this okay with you? Is it all right if I run ahead with it? Something like that, and you set the agenda at the beginning, and then everyone will always just say yes. They'll always say yes. They'll never say anything, and then you just get to ask them all the questions you want, because it's all about them, and people love talking about themselves. Really easy. And so we've got, when you're running this stage 1 meeting here, or diagnostic, or first meeting, and another hack, even if you know that the person is the perfect ideal client to work with you, don't tell them on the first call. Still say you need to work it out, because they haven't come to the decision that you have yet, and they don't know all the information that you do about all the past wins and stuff. You can very easily scare people off. Like, in sales, what I've learnt is that it's not over till like the money comes in your account. Like, it's not over until that happens. So all throughout the sales process, like, you have to always assume they're not going to buy, and you have to fucking throw the fridge at them. Like, throw everything, case studies, fucking everything, because I've had so many deals, especially at my time in Zoom, where I worked on a deal for like 3 months, and I go to the call, I'm like, cool, you're gonna go ahead, and they're like, oh no, this thing happened. I'm like, what the fuck? I've worked on it for 3 months. Like, so throw the fridge at everyone, like literally, like give them everything. So it's the stage 1 meeting. This is kind of how we've got it scripted, and I've got an actual script that Nate uses as well, and then he personalizes it. So you always want to start off with the agenda of just like, hey, this is what we're going to do in the meeting. Is that okay with you? Yes, it is. And no one's ever going to say no. So it's not, you're not actually asking permission. They just think they're giving it when you're really just taking control. That's what you want to do. You start off with the agenda, and then this meeting that we run that Nate does is 15 minutes. You can have it to 15 to 30 minutes. I've seen people have it for 10 minutes. Like, it doesn't really matter. The thing that one of the things that really, really matters from it is telling them that they're not going to have to make a purchasing decision now, because then they let their guard down, and then they'll vent to you and answer more questions, which allows them to feel understood, which helps you trust them trust you more, which lubricates the buying process to help them make the decision as well. And all you're doing is really, you're just going to ask them questions. A lot of people talk about talk time. You just want the other person to talk a lot during the meeting as well, because you just want them to vent their feelings and then actually externalize them, because that's why journaling is really helpful, because if you journal stuff and write it down, it makes it real. It's not just in your head. So when they actually say it, or when they fill out that tally form beforehand, the tally form being this form here, when people fill this form out beforehand, it becomes real. They can't hide from the problems anymore. And so you set the agenda in the meeting, and then what you do is you just run through the questions here. As you're going through the questions, don't be like a robot and just be like, ask the next question, ask the next question. Do things like, oh, that makes sense. Yeah, another client's done that. Or, yeah, I remember somebody else had that same problem before as well. That really sucks. I used to be in that same position. Empathize with them. Give them something back. Like, most of the time, like, on a sales call, obviously there is the script, right? But the things that actually matter even more is, like, one's your conviction. Like, how convinced are you that you can help them? There's also your tonality as well. And there's also brutal honesty. These are a couple of things. So, like, it doesn't actually matter. Like, people won't remember anything that you said on the sales call. They'll only remember the way you made them feel. Like, that's it. And you make them feel a certain way when you're really convicted, you've got good tone, and then you're brutally honest with them. So they feel like you're not a salesperson, you really understand them, and you're actually on their side. Because that's what good sales is. It doesn't feel like sales. It just happens, and they're like, I don't know, I bought the thing. It's like, this person can actually help me. But so as you're going through and answering the questions, you've got to say lube the chat or lube the conversation by mirroring back what they're doing. They lean in, you lean in. These just basic human interaction things that you want to actually do. So you go through, you set the agenda, you ask the questions. Now, magically, obviously the questions they're questions that are going to drill into the pain that you know that they already have, and to put the knife in and twist it and say things like, you ask questions like, how many leads are you generating per week now? 2. Oh, that sucks. Like, how long have you been spending on the platform? 6 months. How many hours a day? 2 hours a day. Wow, 6 months, 2 hours a day. Man, that's like crazy. That really sucks. How many leads are you after? I want to get to 5. What will that mean for you? How many deals will that bring you? To bring me this. Wow, so if we just got you this is where you're going to be. But it sounds like a good problem worth solving, doesn't it? Yeah, it actually does. Okay, cool. Next question. What do you think's holding you back from getting there? And so you're just letting them verbalize all the problems that they know they have, so they're like, help me. You want them to like, help me at the end of the call. And so you go through, you set the agenda, ask the questions, and then right at the end of the call, you say, cool. Look, I said at the start of the call, I'll let you know if it's a good fit or if it's not. If they're not a good fit, literally just tell them, look, I don't think you're a good fit. Because the other good thing about this stage 1 meeting is you protect your time. You don't have to spend an hour with someone who just wants free coaching advice, or with someone who's a very bad fit, or all that kind of stuff. So agenda, questions, and you say, hey, I'll let you know if you're a good fit or not. I think based on our questions, you not definitely might be a good fit. Don't say definitely, 100%. Honestly, I think you're great. Salesperson. That's what salespeople think. And they're going to put their heuristic on. They're going to be like, you're a salesperson. You should say, you might be a good fit. We still need to check. I still want to work it out. I think you're a good fit, but we still want to make sure you are. And then people are like, oh, wow. They're really taking their time and doing their due diligence. And in your head, you're like, I know you're a good fit. I just need you to convince yourself, literally. That's what all good salespeople think, and then they do as well. And so agenda, questions, they're a good fit. And you say, look, as I said at the start of the call, I think if you're a good fit, I think you are. I think let's book another meeting. Let's book another meeting for tomorrow, just to talk about how we might be able to help you. And if it all makes sense, we can start working together tomorrow. At the end of the call, I'll make you an on-the-call offer, if that's okay. And then after we book in the call now, I'll just send you all through the program details. So you can just sleep on it. I don't want you to rush, and you can just take your time making the decision, because I want to make sure it's as much of a right thing for you as it is for me. So it's going to be mutually beneficial working together. Is that okay with you? And they'll just say yes, because you've loaded the question saying, can I send you the details? Can we book tomorrow? Can we do this? You've loaded them all together, so they're just going to say yes no matter what. And then what you say is, you're like, cool, does tomorrow at 9 a.m. or 11 a.m. work for you? Propose 2 times. Go for as soon as possible, and propose times to make it easy for them. And be like, hey, you got your calendar in front of you? They'll say yes, because everyone has their calendar in front of them because it's everywhere. Be like, cool, is tomorrow at 11 or 9 or 11 good for you? And then they might propose another time, make it a bit later, push back. But the main thing is you want to get it as close as humanly possible to the person. And what you're doing there is called BAM FAM. Book a meeting from a meeting. I didn't coin this term. I've just heard other people talking about it, but I just like it. Book a meeting from a meeting. And that's one of the things that you do no matter what. Cool. So I literally forgot to write the 3 here. My OCD. Sweet. And so that's kind of how we run stage 1, or how Nate will run stage 1 meeting as well. We make sure to use a tool. We always record every single meeting with an AI meeting recording tool. The one I use is called Sybil. It's the best one I know by far. I'll kind of show you what it looks like and that kind of stuff. But you definitely want to use an AI meeting recording tool. Like, if you're not recording your meetings, it's just stupid. And if you're not reviewing your meetings and going back through, it's also just stupid. No one's just naturally amazing and really good at sales. It's literally like a process that you work through to get better. Like, even if people who are like, I'm just like naturally gifted with sales, you're not. Like, no one is. Like, I don't even think, I think I'm pretty like average at this, and like I'm going through all this stuff. There's people that are like way better, that are like really more in tune at the same time. We just likely sell something that's not a few grand. It's not actually that expensive, so it's an easier sales cycle. Enterprise sales is where it's hard. I hate that type of sales. It's the worst. So that's how we run the meeting. So set the agenda, ask the questions, let them know they're a fit, bam, bam. Not giving you the exact script. Just remember confidence, tonality, brutal honesty. Just remember they're going to make you feel a certain way, and you want to use Sybil, the AI meeting recording tool, throughout as well. So that's stage 3, meeting 1. Stage 4 is post-meeting. Stage 4, post-meeting 1, follow-up. Cool. So what do we do this is meeting 1, post-meeting 1. So the way we do post-meeting 1, let me just pull it up on the screen. Give me a sec. Okay, so I'll pull up Sybil, the tool now. So this is Sybil. These are all my meetings. These are all Teams meetings down here as well. I won't open someone's meeting because I just want to show their deets. But what I'll do is I'll show you one of the group coaching calls I have for our 7-figure creators program. This is a more exclusive program. We've got only a couple people on the call last night, which is, I love it when there's less people on the call. So because we record every meeting with Sybil, what it does, this is like, and this isn't a sales call, it's a group call that we had. I'm just using it in the context of this. Sybil's best because it gives you the outcome of what happened on the call, the next steps for everyone, conversation starters, the key takeaways. It gives you the pain points, the interests, pain points and interests. It also shows you when people smiled and nodded throughout the call. It's like the fucking best. You can send the call recording to people. You can send the dashboard. One thing that we do throughout the sales process is I send them the whole dashboard so they can look at this. They can look at the analysis they did on themselves, because then it shows them that, like, wow, these people are legit. They're using this sick AI tool. It helps convince people. If you sell lead gen and sales and stuff, send the whole thing and people get super impressed by it. But the really cool thing that Sybil does as well is it generates a follow-up email. Now, the follow-up email it generates, I think, is not good. Instead, we use ChatGPT, and we've got a built-in GPT that actually rewrites the follow-up email in the way that I want it to be written as well. So that's post-meeting one, the follow-up email. It just gets automatically written by the GPT, and there's a few things that we add into the email now, which I'll kind of go through. But definitely get onto Sybil. I don't have any affiliate links down here and anything like that. So like I just know them. I fucking love the product. It's epic. There's no affiliate links. It's not going to be tied to me. Just say, hey, Matt sent you my way or whatever. Just because Nishit and the team, I really like them as people. They're just really good founders. And they recently raised like $11 million. So Nishit, really good guy. Become friends over the past like 18 months as well. So I'm just drinking my chai. So stage 4 is post-meeting one follow-up. So what do? So Nate is in the follow-up email that we do send somebody. I just don't want to show you a follow-up email because it's going to have someone's deets in there and just be a bit weird. And I just rather not. Maybe I should have done a fake one, but whatever. In the actual follow-up email, there's a few key things that we do. So in the follow-up email that gets sent, we add a Loom video. Now, if you don't know what Loom is, fuck me. If you don't know what Loom is, I don't know what planet you're living on, but please use Loom. It's like the greatest tool of all time. If I click Loom here, so see all these screen recordings that I've done? These are all Looms. Like I did a lead magnet, last night. It's got like 91 views as well, which is like pretty good. But Loom is like a screen recording, so you can send it to people with you recording at the same time. What I'm on right now isn't a Loom. It's a more high production thing as well, but Loom is just brilliant. It's just so good. So like with Loom that you send, what we do is Nate will pull up the follow-up email. He'll read all of the stuff. He'll get the AI GPT to write the follow-up email for people, and he'll record a Loom video recapping the meeting over a couple of minutes of what happened, and he'll share screen, and what he'll do is he'll be like, I'll give you an example, right? So Nate will be like on the meeting, all those, if we go back down to here, right? You know how in the pre-meeting checklist, he pulled together screenshots and case studies and stuff like that? In the follow-up Loom that he sends people, he's going to pull up, those people's like, say Beon, one of our clients, he's going to pull up his profile and be like, yeah, Beon was at here, yada, 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 show him some stuff, how it's relevant to the other person. Like we'll also have things like, let's say we pull up our testimonials chat, right? We'll be like, hey, this person was also like you, this. So the Loom video just adds more personalization and allows you to like recap what actually happened in the meeting as well. And people really like it, especially if there's someone else in the buying process. It allows them to just send that Loom video through to people. We'll also include the meeting recording in there. So the person can review it. They can send it to other people if they want at the same time. We also say in the email, these are the top 3 things that you mentioned you want to solve. Top 3. The reason you mention 3 is because people think in 3s. There's something very magical about it. Like, for example, for us, like in order to become a 7-figure creator, you've got to solve the problem of creating content that drives awareness. You got to have conversations that turn into calls, and you got to have conversion optimization. So people go to your profile, they turn into a lead, right? As you can see, it's 3 things. It's very easily to conceptualize. And so you want to send them 3 things, or I like sending them 3 things. What we'll also include as well at the same time, Loom video, meeting recording, the top 3 things. Also this case study that I want you to go through. And the way we've got our case studies set up, and we're going to improve it when we get the new site. I'll look over here, is we just have what's called a wall of love. You can just make this up Notion, super easy. We've got more case studies. I just haven't updated this because it hasn't been a blocker in the business at the moment. And it's just, it looks a bit tacky, I think, but we can make it a lot better. But for example, we got this case study. I might say to them, hey, also you reminded me a bit of Jeremy when I first started working with him. He was trying to do on LinkedIn for X period of time. He was also a salesperson like you, and he also sells high expensive video stuff. Watch this video about Jeremy. He's now booking this. He closed multiple 5-figure deals after started working together. Here's, the text message he sent with all the details. And then here's, his goals, his obstacles, and, what the results were. And what you want to do is when you send someone to a page like this, you then want them to binge all of the case studies. But when you send the case study, what's super key is that you have to really explicitly say why. And the way you do it is, like I mentioned up here, is you give the reason why they should watch it, what the before of the person looked like, what the after, and the why they should watch it as well. It all comes down to the why. And essentially what you're doing is you're persuading them to actually spend, what was the main theme of this? Time on content before they actually go through it as well. And so that's stage 4. And then the case study, the other thing we do is we also send them a link to a very specific YouTube video that I have. Because I make content on YouTube, so and I'm just kind of started getting into it, guys. So any feedback is greatly appreciated at the same time as well. I'm new to this. But for example, if I go to YouTube here, I make YouTube videos, and a lot of these videos that I make, the way I think about podcast episodes, right? Because I do podcasts as well. I just record them by myself. Is any objection that somebody has in the sales process, I just record a podcast episode about it, telling a story. So there's some people are talking about, I saw that a lot of your clients only sell $3,000 things. We sell something that's $30,000. It's going to make our lead gen more complicated. No, it's not. And so I just recorded a video. Why? So then Nate and the sales team can share these objection handling videos with people throughout the actual process as well at the same time. But what we do is we send them a link to one YouTube video, either a YouTube video or a podcast, and we say, hey, I think this will also be relevant. Here's why it can solve this problem. They might say, let's say, this latest one I did, do these 3 things to close more deals. This kind of inspired this video as well at the same time. This inspired this longer form video now as well, because I was just chatting to tons of people about our sales process. But do these 3 things, close deals. So if they said, hey, I can't close deals and get people on the call, might send this, hey, just do these 3 things as well. It's extra value. So they spend more time on content. So you got to send the YouTube video and why. And a lot of people try to automate this process, right? They're trying to quickly send the follow-up emails and stuff like that. Quick is not how you win now. How did we book? Let's go back to this. Organic content and DMs. We have a 5-person team. That's it. How do we book 179 meetings in 30 days, right? Organic content and DMs. Because we don't automate. That's the reason why. Everyone does automate because they're just doing it from a shortcut. It's a band-aid solution. What you want to do is you want to get the manual right first, because now when I'm going to automate, we'll fuck everyone else up because we can just do 10 times the volume because we already know the messaging that works. People try to out-automate their lack of ability in sales, persuasion, and copywriting. They try to out-automate it. And what happens is they grab these great templates online and they start using them. And if they don't understand what good looks like in sales, they can end up burning their personal brand, or they're just wasting and burning leads. That's why you want to have good fundamental skill. They talk about how copywriting is the number 1 skill of marketing, and marketing is the number 1 skill of small business. And then also sales and persuasion is close second, right? You want to learn this stuff so when you know the fundamentals, you can generate leads forever and you become algorithm proof. It's the best. It's what we teach in our program, what we do. So in the follow-up email, he sends through a Loom video, a meeting recording, the top 3 things that they need to work on based off what they said. The case study of why, the YouTube why, also looking forward to chatting. There's so much compelling information and evidence in there, because what we want to do is we want them to spend more time on content. And what does more time on content do? Back up to here, it builds trust. So we've got these different points, here, here, and then here. It's pushing them to be trusted. Because what you would have noticed is we haven't even yet asked them for the money. We haven't even said, hey, do you want to pay us? That's so they're just they're getting all this free stuff. And people like this guy in my chat, please, hopefully I pronounce the name, Jagannath. This guy here, right? I closed 2 clients from your LinkedIn sales funnel, Matt. Amazing results. This dude literally closed free stuff from my, closed deals from my free content. He just messaged yesterday. what better proof is that? If they actually get stuff from your free content, that's like the ultimate proof that you can do it from the free content as well. And that's what actually causes the trust throughout the sales process. This time on content is everything. People make the mistake of like trying to convince people on the sales meeting, convincing them to work with them. Don't convince, let the content convince people, because they can spend hours and hours listening to that content. Like when I found Alex Hormozy for the first time, or Sam Ovens, like I binge their stuff. I still binge it all the time. And if Alex Hormozy had something online and he said, hey, it's 10 grand, I'm not gonna tell you what it is, I'd just click buy. I'd just click buy. I wouldn't even like think about it at the same time. Like when I went to Alex Hormozy's book launch, where he launched $100 million, I got up at 2 a.m. like a crazy person. And he just had the books for sale, and I was like, fucking cool. I bought like $500 of books. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. I'm just buying it because he's already convinced me that his shit works, which is good. So stage 4 is that post-meeting follow-up that he actually sent to people at the same time. The other thing that he'll do in there is also send them a WhatsApp message plus a LinkedIn message to personalize it. Hey Stacey, it was really, really good chatting to you. I just sent you a follow-up email. It includes these things. I think you should read this and this and this. I also included the Loom like you wanted. Really looking forward to chatting you on the next meeting to see if it might be a good fit. One thing that I forgot as well is that, after the first meeting, we also send the meeting details, or the program details. We tested with pricing, without pricing. We just do no pricing now, because we present the options of pricing at the end, and I'll go through how I actually do that at the same time. So there's all the details. It's a really sophisticated document. I might actually just show it to you now. Let me just pull it up. Give me a second. There we are. Here it is. View site. Boom. Yeah, here it is. It's like get 5+ warm leads a week on LinkedIn, no ad spend, how's that program different, yada, 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 yada. It's got all the details, all the coaches and stuff. So it's a pretty sophisticated document that we send through people. It just gives them a lot of time to go through, because you want them to make sure it's the right fit for them, because joining a program like ours, it is a commitment and it takes work and time. And for some people, it's like if you're a CEO running a $10 million company, maybe it's not worth you doing this stuff. It's better for you to get a done for you solution. It's like, it just depends on the situation that you're actually in. Cool. And so that's stage 4, WhatsApp plus LinkedIn. That's done. Now we're rolling to stage 5, which is meeting 2. So we call this, stage 5. I actually put 5. It's called the enrollment ready strategy call. Might even change the name of it, whatever. Enrollment ready strategy. And the name does actually matter. I'm not discounting the name. There's some people who are really, really good. There's an Australian entrepreneur who does landing pages and funnels, Alicia Conlon-Hurd, I think that's what her name is. She's a weapon at creating funnels and selling people into meetings like this. Really, really good. Her stuff's epic. You should check it out. But step 5, enrollment ready strategy call. So we do strategy calls a little bit different as well. So at the beginning, what I'll run through, and I'll run you through what an enrollment ready strategy call is at the same time. Let me just pull it up. Where is it? We call it like a game plan call. Here it is. Yeah, so it's not an enrollment ready strategy call. It's called a game plan call now. Yeah, it's called the game plan call. And what I mean by game plan is we're literally putting their plan together so that they can actually work with us in the program at the same time. Now, I'll show you an example of what the game plan call looks like. So, actually, I'll go back. The way we structure the call is the same thing. Run through the agenda. Hey, thanks for jumping on. Remember last time we covered this in the meeting. This time the goal is to actually build you a plan to work together. Also, we can work through some other questions, and if we both think it's a good fit at the end, I'll run you through options and I can get you started right now and into the school program. Is that okay? Yep, cool, that's okay. So we run through the agenda at the beginning. Then we spend the first little bit Nate will spend the first little bit asking more questions about the person as well, just diving deeper based off what you said, based off what they said. And then what we do is we run into the actual game plan session. So why I do this and make it different is that the second call is usually the hardest, especially when you want to ask people to work with you or ask for the money or however you do it. So the way we have it set up is I took our client onboarding document, which is this, and I turned it into a game plan document. So what we do inside here is all Nate needs to do is he asks them a few questions from the last chat. Then he says, cool, we're just going to build your game plan document. This is going to be the planning. This is going to be the document that you're going to use throughout the program so that you can execute on everything. Literally, this is the document that you're actually going to use. And so it allows Nate to not have to think of a script, and at the same time, at the same time, we're also just assuming the person's going to join the program even before we present the pricing options. Because what this does is when they fill out this whole document, is they write everything down, what their goals are, all that kind of stuff. And I'll run you through them now in a second. But like, once this is done, they're like, I want this document. So they'll pay you for the document at the same time as well, which is really, really cool. But you only give the document if they join you at the end of the call. So it's a bit Machiavellian there at the same time. But on the document, it literally just runs through, okay, how you be successful in the program, step 1, step 2, step 3. There's a few other key things that we do here at the same time, which work really well. This isn't the actual one. It's just the framework of the one as well. But we say, hey, cool, to be people who are most successful in the program, this is what they do, yada, yada, yada. This is the goal. We've usually got the testimonials just sitting in here at the same time. And then we say, cool, now let's just run through how we're going to plan the program. So based off everything that you've done on LinkedIn thus far, what are you kind of most proud of? And Nate will have the screen shared and he'll literally be filling this out for them, doing the work for them, and just ask them the questions. What are you most confident about? What are you most excited about in the program? What's your monthly target earnings? What are some specific goals? He also provides guidance on the goals. Okay, let's do your 6-week focus finder. What's the biggest problem right now? You mentioned this. Is this the problem? This is cool. What difference will it make if you solve the problem? I'll make money and I don't have to go back to my job. Cool. What does done look like? What we feel good at. This. Okay, cool. Here's the project plan of what we want you to do over the next 6 weeks. We want you to do this part of the program, and this time he'll have school opened up. He'll be like, cool, I want you to go through and you want to do this part and this part and this part. Everyone starts in the 101 section, and then he'll go through and like actually build the, exactly what they're going to do on the call and their next steps. And then after that, and just the project. So maybe they mention, they really want to focus on content, or they really want to focus on getting the offer right, or they really want to focus on the DMs. He'll just build the projects based off what they already said on the call. And then when you go to take action right now, he'll say, cool, the first thing you want to do is when you log in, you want to introduce yourself in the community feed here, number 1. Number 2, I want you to start this section, intro to 101. And number 3, this is like one of the things that gets people over the line, is I'm going to introduce you to these 3 other people. You remember those testimonials and case studies that I shared with you who are relevant? I want to introduce you to them, or can you jump in and have a chat with them so you can, catch up with them, because they're a couple of months ahead of you, and they're actually going to help you a lot throughout this process as well. And the introductions for the 3 people, that's game changing. That's like absolutely game changing. People are like, oh yeah, I get to work with people at the same time, which is a positive. And the great thing about programs like this, right, is like the community is so vibrant and stuff like that. It's just because like everyone is after the same goal and everyone wants to achieve the same thing. So it's actually epic. There's no one online now because everyone in our program is in Europe and the US, and it's 12:33 in Australia. So late night US, 3 a.m. in the morning in Europe as well. And then you go through and you say, cool, here's everything we're going to do. And by this time, the person's like, they're ready. And then what we say is, cool, we've filled out your game plan form. So before I present you with the options of what to do, before I present you the options that we have, the pricing options, I just want to check, is there any other questions that you have? And what you want to do is you want to answer every single question they have to get to the point where they're like, I don't have any more questions. I only want to see the price. That's it. So you just want to answer all of them so there's no ambiguity going into the pricing discussion. Because when you get to the pricing thing, you want to make it as crystal clear as possible. You want them to feel like, yeah, there's like nothing. You've shown me absolutely everything. Because, and again, the way that we've done this is through time on content. We've gone and we've spent all this time in the sales process building tons of this trust, right? To get to the point where you eventually ask for the money. They trust you so much. And as long as the price isn't like 10 times what they thought, as long as it's within the range of what they thought, there's a good chance they're going to buy. Even if it's above, that's okay. If it's below, obviously they're going to be like, it's a steal. But there's other ways that you set the frame around price. I just won't get into that. That happens in the lead gen process. We can do that at a later video. Or feel free to ask me in the comments and I'll answer it as well if you want to know. But game plan call, agenda, ready, answer any questions. Okay, cool. What I'll do now, as I mentioned on the first call, and the start of this call, is I'll present you a couple of options. I'll give you, as I mentioned, I'm going to give you an on the chat on the meeting discount, and Nate will say, Matt says, it's only available on the call as well, and I can't give it to you off the call. I'm sorry, Matt reviews my meetings because I'll get in trouble. So if that's okay, but I mentioned it before, I think it's a good fit. You think it's a good fit. Let's go through the 2 options now that I think could work for you. Then the options that you give through the person is you just can have 2. You can have 3, right? Or you just have 2 options, right? The thing that matters here is you want to do what's called price anchoring. All price anchoring is just says, there's this thing that's really big, there's this thing that's marginally smaller. See the difference? The small thing ain't that big anymore. That's all it is. So you just say option 1, it includes this, and this. And that one is, let's say $14,999, right? That's option 1. And you're like, cool. Then this is like a really good option. It's really good. And you make it more than what they're expecting. So they're like, oh, shit. Man, that's hard. Yeah, but they're like, might be able to take that. Maybe, right? But that's $14,999. That's the option. I think it could be a really good option for you. The second option is $2,999. That includes this, this, and this. It misses this, it misses this, it misses this. Look, I think based off your situation, I think both options could be really good at the same time. I think though, based on where you're at and the work that you put in, I think you could start with option 2. You can move to option 1 later on. That's actually totally fine. If you want the extra 1-to-1 sessions with Matt as well, that's how we usually differentiate the 2. It's 1-to-1 times, it's 6 sessions with me for 30 minutes or whatever it is. Just selling time. It's an easy way to do it. The reason you do 1-to-1 time that's really, really expensive is it shows that the value of your time or the person's time in the program or the business owner or whatever it is really, really high. That's why you charge more. And so then they think, wow, I'm getting a steal with the other thing. But you can think, then you say look, based on what you said, I think option 2 will be a better bet. That's why, because of X, Y, Z. Should we go ahead and get you started? I can get you enrolled in now in the school platform. Literally say it like that. And then most of the time people are like, yeah, let's do it. And then what we do, the next hack here is we send them the Stripe link. So we have a link on Stripe, already pre-done with the price as well. And usually we'll make an on-the-chat offer and be like, but if you take it today, it's, $999 payment now and another $999 payment or whatever. I can't remember the exact pricing of how it's structured. And I'll say, but if you take it today, that's the on-the-chat offer. Should we go ahead and get started? Because I can get you enrolled now and I can give you the stock and you can just start working immediately. And a lot of people want to start immediately. That's part of the allure as well. And when they say, yeah, cool, let's start immediately, what you do is you get out your phone and you're like, cool, I'm going to send you the link on WhatsApp to pay. The reason why you do it on WhatsApp to get them to pay on Stripe on the phone is because people have Apple Pay. And Apple Pay is easy. They just go click, click, and they pay. If you send the thing to their computer, they go log in through their computer and they go find the credit card deeds. One time I got pulled into a call with Nate and the dude took him 45 minutes to work out how to pay the thing. So hard. From the mobile, everyone's already got their credit card stuff pre-saved. It's really, really easy. No cookie stuff going on. Oh, there is cookies, but whatever. It's just really easy. So the next thing is, boom, Stripe link. And then what we have after the call is let's go back. So when they say, let me go back. There's this one other key point I missed, which I want to raise, is when they say, yep, let's go ahead with option 2. Epic. Dude, pumped to work with you. Don't just send them the Stripe link then and there. I learned this guy from a guy called Brian Mark, who's a fitness, he coaches personal trainers to build online coaching businesses. What you want to do is you want to confirm their why, and you want to get them emotionally invested into it beforehand. Down here, right? Emotion. Let's make it red. Let's just go heart, right? You want to get them emotionally invested in beforehand. So before sending them the Stripe link, you say to them, cool, epic, dude, pumped to work with you. Stacy, pumped to work with you. I'm really excited. Just from our chats, what are you most looking forward to? And just stop. And the person will just be they'll be elated. They'll be yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. I'm really enjoying this. I'm really looking forward to it. What it does when you do that is it confirms in their head. So if there's any issue with the payment thing and they ask to pay tomorrow or whatever it is, then they're going to be you removes that. It gives you more sticking time to be able to sit with them at the same time. It's just super crucial. And so you say, what are you looking forward to? They say this, man, that's awesome. Look, I'm just going to send you Stripe link right now. Can you pay that now? And I just want to make sure you can get the onboarding email. And then I'm going to onboard you right now. I'm going to get you into the program. I'm going to show you how to do this stuff. I'm going to do it together. And so On the call, you send them the Stripe link, they pay. We have a Zapier that fires off the onboarding email that invites them to school. If it doesn't fire sometimes, then Nate can actually add them to school. Then he sends them the Notion document here. Wait, I'm gonna send you the Notion doc. You've gone to this, cool, I'm gonna invite you to school. They'll come up in the pending members section. Nate will let them in the program, whatever it is. I gotta review these pending members. Nate will then let them in the program. And they're like, cool, you're in now. Based off what we said in the doc, can you go here? Can you go here? Awesome. Also, I'll send you the recording of this video as well. Man, you've made a really good purchasing decision. Like, I'm really looking forward to working with you. This is gonna be epic. Can you also make sure you add the onboarding call here? So what he'll do is he'll get on the call and he'll go to the calendar and he'll be like, the onboarding's next week. You're in the US time zone. Okay, click here, add this to your calendar. You wanna confirm the purchase of the person at the same time. Like, you want to make them feel really good about the purchase. And so you essentially onboard them, like a mini onboarding, then and there. And that's part of the allure of everything. And now you're probably asking, Matt, what do I do about objection handling? I'll get to that in a second as well. But then, as you would have noticed, this time on content that you've given to people all throughout the way, this is what persuades them to want to work with you. Like, most of the people don't have objections in this situation because they've already persuaded themselves. And like, because every single little video that you create and that you send to them, the objection handling videos, the YouTube videos, I send the case studies, it dispels all these objections in their mind, so they can't think of anything. They get to the end and like, I literally can't think of anything. I thought about it all. And that's exactly the place you want to be in. Let me just have some chai. Man, I haven't had chai in ages. It's so good. Yep, so that's the problem. That's how we go through. Now, when it comes to objection handling, a few things that are key. I already asked them around here, do you have any more questions about the program? And they say no. No questions, right? We also ask them in stage 3 during the meeting, one of the questions is like, okay, is this a now or a later thing? And they're like, it's a now thing. It's also in the tally form that they fill out. In the form here that they fill out, right? So we already know that and we've already given them a price range and stuff like that, right? But usually the only 2 things I get here is like, because we deal with business owners themselves, is like, now, there could be a co-founder. If there was a co-founder, what you want to do is you want to ask them before the very first meeting, hey, is there anyone else that you saw you have a co-founder? I think we should get them on the call as well. Those are going to have double calls. So you just get them on the call. The only ones that I've found, it's just time and money. They're the only ones, the excuses that I've found when we've run through this process. And I'll show you how to overcome both. The way you overcome the objections of, like, one time I had a guy who got on the call who's crushing it now, by the way. I'll actually show it to you. It's freaking, he sent me this text the other day. It's so funny. Like, he goes, so Archer, he sells a program on how to help people get a job in mergers and acquisitions and also sells a course on it as well. So pretty niche in Australia. He's like, hey mate, did another lead magnet post on LinkedIn and I got 2,000 comments. I need your help with admin. I'm getting married on Friday and have tomorrow off, so poor timing. So he did 2 lead magnet posts. One of them, it's now to like 3,800 comments, which is absolutely insane, which he did from our program. I'll show you it here, right? Archer, Samson. Yeah, he did it in our program. His first lead magnet post, like, went well. And his second one, I'll show you. 1,150. So that was the one he sent me, right? That was like a week ago. He's like, it was 2,000 at the time, 4,150. The one he did before that, and this was all out of our program, all the stuff that he learned. I've got a long video on this as well. He did another one that got 646. But it was, where was I getting at that? So I was getting at that because when Archer first joined, it was like a month ago, he had his wedding in a month. And because we give access to our program at the start for 2 months, then you got to pay a monthly ongoing thing to be part of it. His hesitation was like, oh, do I get started, before the wedding? But he had time and money. So I said to him, I was like, we went through all this stuff and then I was like, okay, cool. Yeah, should we get started? He's like, oh, I don't know. I'm like, oh, what are you thinking about? And he's like, oh, I got my wedding in a month. And I'm like, oh, okay. Is it just, I said to him, like, is it like just a timing thing? Like, is it like just because you feel like you don't have enough time? Like, do you want to execute now, but you don't have enough time? And he's like, yeah, it's just like, I feel like I want to execute now, but like, I also don't have enough time. And then I'm like, okay, cool. So it's like the time thing. So if you had more time to be able to do it, that'd be better, but you want to get started. He's like, yeah. Then I say, at the same time, I'm like, okay, also, is there anything else? Like, because it's your wedding, like you might be paying for the wedding. Is it like kind of a money thing maybe as well? And he's like, yeah, it's also the money thing. Like I've got a wedding, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to recoup it back. I'm like, okay, cool. So it's just the time and money. Is there anything else? But you do want to get started now because you think it's going to work. Yeah, it's going to work. Is there anything else? You sure? Nothing else. Cool. Then I just go, okay, cool. How about we do this? how about you pay $9.99 now on month 1? And I do it on a whiteboard, right? It helps a lot on a whiteboard. So I'm like, how about you pay $9.99 month 1 now? And then how about, because you're having a wedding and the honeymoon and whatever, how about for month 2, how about what we do is you then just don't pay for the whole month until after your wedding. That way you can get started now, you can get into it, you can go through, and then your next bill payment doesn't even happen in month 2, it happens 30 days after your wedding. After your wedding. And then that's when you pay the next, I think it was $9.99 maybe at the time. Again, and if you're watching this video now, our price has probably gone up quite a lot. We just keep raising them because people keep saying yes, and so we're going to keep raising the price. That's another thing to do in your sales process. If people say yes too easy, that's a bad thing. And then month 1, month 2, so I was like, cool, 30 days. So you got extra time. You can start immediately right now. I can get you onboarded right now. Should we go ahead and get it done? And he's like, yeah, cool, done. So what I've done is I've just gone through and I've dispelled his time and money. I've just removed it as a thing. And I know if you're in like a company and all that kind of stuff, you can't do this shit. That's why I fucking hate working in corporate. It sucks ass. But like, I don't like it. Some people it's good. But you can't do this type of deals and stuff like that. But if you're a small business owner, just accommodate for the person. And it for me, right, it doesn't affect me. Like, I won't get paid here, right? But like, he's gonna, like, because he's gotten on board now and he did this lead magnet post, Archer's gonna stay with us for ages. And we have our first program, Unlock AI, but it's called Six Figure Creators now, right? It might be that by the time you watch this video, or we might be becoming that. So called Six Figure Creators. I'm saying to Archer, like, I want you to, like, you're a 6-figure creator now, but like, I'm investing in you because I want to work with you in our 7-figure creator program. So when you're making 10 or 20K a month, I think he's making that now, but like when you're doing that, I want you to join our 7-figure creator program because this is our mid ticket and this is our high ticket. So I'm like telling him then and there. So like I'm investing because I actually bet that he would be able to do it, and he's crushed it. He's closed so many deals, it's insane. But like, I bet that when I went into it. So it doesn't actually cost you. That's why I think order value ladder is crucial, but I'm not going to get into that till later on at the same time. But yeah, that's the actual meeting process. Now, stage 6 was actually down here. This is stage 6, which is like on the same call, you onboarding the person, because that builds tons more trust, because later on when we have something else to sell to him, there's a very good chance he's going to buy because we can get him the confirmation straight away. But as you can see, this, I'll recap it for you as well so we can actually re-go back through. But that's like our whole sales process that we have. And I'm sure there's like little bits and pieces that I've missed as well. I just didn't pull up all the SOPs and the documents because I thought this is just going to be a little bit easy to go through. This is, say, how Nate will run the sales process, what he does, and the other sales team run the sales process. I just used him as an example because I was DMing him before. But yeah, that's our sales process, 6-stage sales process. What helped us close $130,000 last month as well. Organic content and DMs, 100 and whatever called meetings it was. How many meetings was that? Yeah, 179 meetings. Has that changed since today? Maybe it's updated, yeah. It was 183 before, I swear it was. Yeah, 179 meetings as well, which is like a really good amount of meetings. You can see what the weekends are, can't you? Maybe you should work weekends at the same time. Yeah, and so that's our sales process. And so you probably would have noticed, like, what I wanted to kind of like hammer down at the start is like, there's so much more to sales process than what meets the eye. And so many people, like creators and consultants and small business owners, they're just like, yeah, like I'm good at sales. And like, really? Like, come on, bro. Like, I think this is like amateur. There's people that are doing way better things than this, but I wanted to just like, while it's fresh in my head, break it down in detail so you can go through this and so you can steal away everything that I do. There's that other video. I've got a couple other videos on my YouTube of like the main things that you want to do. If you're going to do some main things, like a couple of things, I just have 2 meetings. I'd set an agenda and do a bam fam. That's what I'd do. They're the key things I'd do if you could take away only one thing. But just as a recap, so I did $130,000 a month on LinkedIn. There's 2 ways I generate leads. Inbound from like my actual LinkedIn profile. So if you go to my LinkedIn profile over here, I do it. I post content. It gets people engaged. They go to my profile and they book a meeting. I've also got an email newsletter set up as well at the same time, which we've got about 6,000 subs now. Pretty happy with that. It's only been like about 110, 115 days, which I'm pretty happy with at the same time. Wow, open rate's down. I'm going to check that out. Click rate's through. That's pretty good. We got 6,000 subscribers, so I push people to there and they get nurtured through there at the same time. But yeah, so people come, they book a meeting through the profile. The only funnel I've got is this. That's it. It's the only way. That's literally our website now until our new website comes out, Seven Figure Creators, which would be epic. But I create content, and then we have do sell by chat and to actually book meetings with people at the same time to generate the leads, which is cool. And then the sales process is broken up in 6 parts. The main theme of the sales process is you want people to convince themselves that they want to work with you. You don't want to try and convince them, and let the content do the work. So by the time we go to ask for the money here, right, in meeting 2, they're already convinced. They're already like, let's go ahead. And as long as the expectations align, then it's fine. Like a slippery slide, remember? And then Nate's sales process split up into 6 stages. Stage 1 is like, actually I didn't go through and tick all these. OCD. So is stage 1 the immediate after their booking? So immediately what he does. So immediately he sends them the tally form. So he adds them on LinkedIn, sends them a personalized WhatsApp, sends them the tally form, sends them the video sales letter, sends them the case study and why it's relevant, using the reason, before and after, and the why, because you want to persuade them to actually read it. Stage 2, he's got a pre-meeting checklist that he goes through, checks their ICPs, reads all the deets, looks at the form, reads through the questions, gets another case study and some more screenshots ready. Stage 3, he runs it with the agenda questions. This is a first meeting or diagnostic discovery meeting, triage, what do you want to call it? It can be 10 to 30 minutes. Like, don't be too strict with this. The main thing you want to do is just have 2 meetings, at least have 2 meetings before you ask for the money. And it works with conviction, tonality, brutal honesty. It's also just around the way you make somebody feel. And definitely please use Sybil, the hour meeting note taker. It's better than Fathom and all those ones. And I'm not affiliated with them at all. Like I got an affiliate link. I've just never fucking used it. And so I'm not going to put it up anywhere, because I think that when you put up affiliate links and stuff like that, it kind of somewhat damages your brand. So I'd rather just not have that, and I'd rather just push my brand, which is our program as well. So if you want help on this, you can get help. Run through how we actually do it. Set the agenda, ask the questions, good fit, book a meeting from a meeting. Here's all the details with no pricing until the next call. Then we've got stage 4, which is like post-meeting 1 follow-up, where we take the transcript, put it into the GPT, it writes it, we send them a Loom video. There's a case study and the reason why, more YouTube so they can go deep. Because like what you want people to do is you want to create on YouTube what's called like a binge bank. What a binge bank is so that What a binge bank is so that people can go somewhere, even if there's not a lot of views, they can just watch all of your content. Because all I do on this channel is I only talk about how to make money on LinkedIn. That's it. It's such a niche topic. Like as a business owner or creator, someone who wants to drive revenue through their personal brand, organic content and DMs, right? So I don't get that many views. I don't even know if this is this viewed? I think it's going to get posted today, right? Unlisted. Is that unlisted? 2 views. Hell yeah. I think it's, why does it say unlisted? Oh, it's unlisted as in people can only get through the link, right? 57 views, but like it's just so hyper specific for people that it just like, it really does wonders. And I've also got on Spotify. I'm going to be putting it on like other ones as well. I got a few 5-star reviews. Yay. Oh, you can't see that. Yeah, pretty cool. But yeah, so you just want them to have a binge bank, because the more time they spend on your content before, the more they trust you, the more likely they're going to buy from you. And then obviously post-meeting, you're going to send them a personalized WhatsApp and LinkedIn, because automations are great, but like personalized stuff just cuts it through and it makes it better. And you can systemize it to a fact that it does take time, but like people just use automation a lot of time for a band-aid for issues, right? They literally do. And then stage 5 is the game plan call. That's where we have the actual Notion document that we actually run people through, agenda, get them ready, answer the question. We price anchor, again, time on content, give them a couple options. Also, before we send them the Stripe link via the WhatsApp, we say, you know, what are you most looking forward to? Get them emotionally committed, because if there's a couple of fuck ups with billing, you don't want them to say, hey, do tomorrow, because then good chance they don't do it anyway. Because most people you sell to, especially in small business, they're also like me, which we're just like chickens with our head, and we're just like running around. We just like make decisions on the fly, and we're not really planned. Like bigger businesses are different. That's why it's different selling to them. And I can make another video telling the bigger business, but like I'm not going to get into that. It's totally different. And then the objections we usually have is just time and money. So you just accommodate for the person. And the reason I want to accommodate is because I want to get them from our 6 to 7 figure program. Cool. That was fun, guys. So that was the 6-stage sales process that we use to close $130,000 a month on LinkedIn. Let me know in the comments what else you'd like to see, what other content you'd like me to create as well. I just have heaps of fun creating this content. Like I love it. And I just spent 5 hours deep diving into our sales process this morning. And I was like, fuck it, I'll just create this. This is our exact process we're doing right now on the 4th of September at 12:54 p.m. On a Wednesday. Anyways, guys, let me know in the comments. Otherwise, a like and sub. Really appreciate it. Peace out. Catch ya.